Every day we talk to people. We share ideas and sometimes try to persuade others that our ideas are right. But sometimes we have to deal with people who don't exactly have the best ideas. And the more they try to present their ideas, the less sense they start to make. This causes confusion and even anger. And what started as small talk has turned into a nonsensical war of flawed logic and bad arguments. These are known as logical fallacies. Logical fallacies are flaws, inconsistencies, or mistakes in logic and reasoning. In other words, they are bad arguments. Today we will show you 3 logical fallacies so you can avoid them the next time you talk to your friend, neighbor, or that jerk who posts comments on YouTube.
Let's begin with slippery slope. Slippery slope is an argument that one step will inevitably lead to more, eventually negative steps. It's like a boulder rolling down a hill or a row of dominoes falling down. To illustrate how weak this argument is, here's an anecdote of me and my dad. I was playing Minecraft when my dad came in and said, "Winston, why are you playing video games? Do your homework." In response, I inquired, "Why do I have to do my homework?" Yeah, that wasn't a smart thing to say to my dad. But my dad's explanation was this: you do your homework, then you get good grades. You get good grades, then you get into a good college. You get into a good college, then you get a good job. You get a good job, then you get money. So, to get money, you need to do your homework. Now, here my dad's reasoning seemed to make sense. I mean, to make money, you need a job, and to get a job, you need education, which requires doing homework, right? But the way my dad implies that solving 30 integrals and differentials will ultimately and automatically result in me earning money seems way too distant of a connection. I mean, there's just way too many variables. I mean, getting into a top university is expensive and could cost me thousands in debt and student loans. And even if I were to be productive now and start doing my homework, who's to say that my present behavior will reflect my productivity when I get into college? I could slack off, work at McDonald's to pay off my debt, or suffer from a nervous breakdown that would get me kicked out of UC Berkeley for setting the professor's house on fire. The point is, my dad's reasoning is flawed because he does not have the ability to predict every consequence of a single action. I mean, it's not like he possesses ancient Chinese psychic powers to predict any outcome, or does he?
The next logical fallacy is circular reasoning. Circular reasoning is when the argument makes the same claim as the proposition. For example, it is illogical to assume that a professional photographer must have a high-quality camera and takes amazing pictures. One may say that if someone is a good photographer, then he must have a good camera. And if he has a good camera, then he must take good pictures. If someone takes good pictures, then he must be a good photographer who has a good camera, and so on. The conclusion that a photographer takes good pictures if he has a good camera is illogical, because its supporting evidence is basically just repeating itself in a circle, going back to the same point, over and over again. It is possible that a good photographer could have a cheap camera and still take nice pictures with it. It could also be the case that a photographer does not know how to use his expensive professional camera and ends up with a bunch of blurry images.
Veiled threats. A statement that can be interpreted as a threat. When giving a veiled threat, you implicitly intimidate the other person into agreeing with you. Veiled threats are similar to red herrings, in that neither addresses the issue at hand. In rhetorical analysis, veiled threats are also occasionally known as appeals to fear. Imagine the following scenario. A businessman gets out of his car at the mall. The stranger asks for some spare change, but the man declines. The stranger then says, "Wow, nice car. It would be a shame if someone were to throw a rock through its windshield or something." The stranger has just issued a veiled threat. The businessman is now afraid that the stranger will crash his car, and he is compelled to give the man change. It's important to notice that the stranger does not give an outright threat because "give me money or I'll wreck your car" is way too direct and aggressive. Here's another classic example. Imagine a student is arguing with his teacher over a test question. The teacher, running out of arguments, tells the student, "Wow, You must really enjoy history a lot, seeing as you're willing to take it again next year. The teacher has also just issued a veiled threat by implying that he is going to fail the student. The student, dismayed with the prospect of failing, decides to drop the question, at least for the moment. This veiled threat is more passive than, say, "Stop arguing with me or I'll fail you," which would come off way too aggressively.
Yo, I'm not a rapper, so I may not have the dopest flows, but those who write the essays using slippery slopes should know, when you use this tactic then your writing quickly falls apart. Choosing other roads to take would surely be a better start. Occasionally our essays tend to sound like total crap, but stay away from circular reasoning, 'tis a major trap. Since no new evidence is introduced, it just won't work. Every time I hear of these, I straight up wanna go berserk. It's possible you heard the usage of a veiled threat, cause it's been one of English writing's major regrets. Appeal to fear is whack, intimidation's gonna fail, and if you mess up one of these, you're gonna go to jail.